Hi, I'd like to present Stanley Chen, giving a talk on why climate friction matters. I guess I'll wait until he can say he hears us, and then, can you
I
hear
can hear
us?
you.
Uh,
Yes.
okay, so I guess you can like full screen your slides, and I'll give the stage
Okay.
to you.
Thank you. So you can see my full screen right now. Perfect. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Um, so thanks for having me to this wonderful event. Sorry that I couldn't be there in person, but I love to take this opportunity to share some of my thoughts about climate fiction and also how to leverage crypto community to make the change. So, oops, yep. So imagine, if you will, that I'm using this cliche but very effective metaphor that we are like rock in a slowly boiling pot of water. The temperature rises incrementally, almost imperceptibly, until one day that we find ourselves cooked. This metaphor, morbid as it might be, speaks to the environmental crisis we face today. As the pot continues to simmer, we, the flocks, must ask ourselves, how can we live forward towards a sustainable future? How can our technology, our society, and our culture guide us through the heat? So the answer might be the story, but not the conventional stories we used to know, but something new. So the great derangement by Amitav Ghosh that examines the impact of climate change on literature and culture. Ghosh, he argued that um, capitalism, which might fail,
Uh,
um,
Pardon me,
sorry,
Stanley, we don't have the slides. Could you share your screen again?
okay, can you see it now?
I believe so.
Okay, so now switch to full screen.
Yes, we can see.
So now it's on. Um, Sorry about the technology. Is it on full screen or
Oh, now it's a black screen. But yeah, we see like the website with like I guess the part of your slide deck, and then yeah.
yeah, but it's not full screen, right?
Correct.
Okay, now should be full screen on my side.
Oh, not
I
on
think
ours.
it's the latency.
Oh, it looks good now.
Okay, sorry about that. So Amitabh argues that the modern Western novel has failed to address the urgent environmental crisis, and that is the result of dominant cultural and economic systems that prioritize individualism and consumerism over collective action and sustainability. So climate fiction. Um, is working? No. Okay. So climate fiction or sci-fi is a genre of literature that explores the potential consequences of anthropogenic climate change on human society and the environment. It has become an increasingly popular and relevant form of storytelling. And in recent decades, due to the intensification of global warming and the growing public awareness of its implications. While climate fiction has gained significant attention in recent years, actually back in the year 1962, Rachel Carson's Silent Spring marked a turning point in environmental awareness and led to an emergence of a new generation of writers who focus on the relationship between humanity and the nature. So during the 70s and 80s, climate fiction evolved to reflect growing concerns about pollution, overpopulation, and resource uh, depletion. Key works from this period include John Browner's The Ship Looked Up, and also Frank Herbert's Dune, which was adapted into a movie recently. All of those work explore the effect of environmental degradation on human society. So in the 21st century, climate fiction has become increasingly focused on the direct impact of the climate change, including sea level rise, extreme weather events, and the collapse of ecosystems. So contemporary climate fiction tend to fall into several subgenres, each with its unique approach to addressing climate changes, such as one, dystopian and post-apocalyptic sci-fi. So this story often portray bleak, devastated world ravaged by climate change, such as Cormac McCarthy's The Road or Jeff Vandermeer's Annihilation. So they serve a cautionary tale that emphasize the urgency of addressing climate change before it's too late. And second, near future sci-fi. So this subgenre explore the more immediate consequences of climate change, often focusing on political, social, and economic issues. Example including Barbara Kingsolver's Fly Behavior and Nathaniel Reach Off Against Tomorrow. And third, which in my opinion is the most important one, which is optimistic sci-fi. So these narratives present more hopeful visions of humanity's ability to adapt or to mitigate climate change. They often emphasize the role of science, technology, and collective action in addressing environmental challenges, such as Kim Stanley Robinson's recent work, The Ministry for the Future. And of course, me myself, I examine and practice some of these issues and themes through my own writing. And Waste Sky is one of the novel I've written on the subject about e-waste disaster and cyber revolution in the near future China. And on the surface, the story of an American company negotiating with the local government and leaders of a small Chinese island named Silicon Isle, in Chinese, basically, its pronunciation is the same to an actual town very close to my hometown. So for the representative of Terra Green recycling, in reality, the economic hitman, Scott Brindle, that's the name of the character, convincing Silicon Isle local leader to hand over control of the recycling process in return for promised environmental and quality of life improvement would result in huge financial gain and power over a crucial region in the east. But meanwhile, the local and the clan leaders attempt to manipulate the negotiations to extract money and power for themselves and continue their generation-long feud. At the heart of the story, an immigrant e-waste worker, Mimi, who had come to Silicon Isle from the countryside after being promised a path to a better life. So she is one of such worker, represents the pain, brutality, and spiritual desolation that are the actual outcomes of migration to Silicon Isle. So actually, this is something happened for real. As you can see from this real picture, this is some picture taken from the real Silicon Isle. In Chinese, it's called Precious Isle, which is quite uh, ironic, of course. So you can see all these metal cases, broken displays, circuit boards, plastic components and wires, some dismantled and some awaiting processing, which scatter everywhere. But it was the playground for the Guiyu or Silicon Isle children. And you can see everything was shrouded in a leaden miasma generated by the boiling acid bath and the burning of PVC circuit boards and in the field and on the shore of the river. And all these waste workers in reality would rip out the innards of electronic products with their bare hand, applying acid and melting down casings with cigarette lighters, extracting metals like coppers, and shredding plastic into reusable pellets. So no one wear any protection gear, as you can see. So e-waste then treated inadequately poses serious healthy issues since it contains hazardous components, including contaminating air, the water, and the soil, and putting people's health at risk. So Guiyu is just a small piece of the global e-waste landscape. So because e-waste contains precious metals, including gold, silver, copper, platinum, and everything else, but it also contains valuable bulky materials such as iron and aluminum, along with the plastic that can be recycled. So estimate value of raw materials in e-waste is worth more than 100 billion euros globally every year. However, only 20% of the e-waste are documented to be collected and recycled. Oh, so I can see this, the sharing is stopped, right? So the screen is not playing well, right? So it's just stopped. Maybe I can move in a not full screen version, so it plays better. Now you can see it. It's the e-waste worker one. So so bear with me, please let me continue. So only 20% of e-waste are documented to be collected and recycled, while 4% of e-waste in the higher income countries such as US and UK is thrown into the residue waste, or the 76% of the e-waste is known. So where did all this waste go? So if you can see the picture here, so this is the answer. As what I've seen in Guiyu, the precious island, most of the e-waste was shipped from the developed countries in EU or US and dumped in developing countries such as um, Southeast Asia, Africa, and India. So sometimes they're treated as normal goods, but mostly they were just got it as smuggling. That's not only about the waste, it's about economic and geopolitical imbalance. The differences of e-waste generated in developed versus developing countries is quite large. The poorer has to take care of the e-waste for the richer. So in 2016, the Basel Action Network placed GPS tracker in obsolete equipment in USA. One of the studies showed that around one third of the e-waste in the US ended up in developing countries. Of those exported, 93% went to developing countries in Asia where no proper recycling is performed. Only 7% moved to countries such as Mexico, Canada, and Australia. So it brings out a very profound and philosophical uh, question of the principle of NIMBY, not in my backyard. So I put all of this learning and feeling into my debut novel with Ty and try to tell the story in a different way and help everyone can see a whole picture. And also I try different way because that's a too dark and cautionary tale about climate change. In my book, co-author with Dr. Kai Fu Lee, AI 2041, I try to portray a more hopeful and brighter future on climate change, which entitled Dreaming of Plenitude. So in this story, an indigenous girl helped to fight against the climate change and save the biodiversity with cryptocurrency and a new kind of virtual community to help the society to learn and adapt to the new extreme climate change situation, also together with AI technologies. And in another YA book for kids, so it's called Net Zero Game, which I using gamification to educate and entertain the grade 6 to 9 younger generation to understand what is net zero, what is the relevance with climate change, and how can we prepare for that kind of future from technological level to social construction and also to daily life behavior changes. So I received a lot of very positive feedback, and this has given me a lot of, encouragement to think about what could be next. So as the consequences of climate change become more apparent and pressing, climate fiction will likely continue to evolve in response to the shifting socio-political landscape. The genre future may be characterized by several developments. First, greater diversity in perspective. Climate fiction will increasingly encompass stories from diverse culture and geographic backgrounds, particularly those from regions affected by climate change, such as the global south. This will lead to a richer and more nuanced understanding of the global impacts of climate change and the various ways in which communities adapt and respond. And second, interdisciplinary approaches. So climate fiction will likely continue to incorporate elements from various disciplines such as science, technology, politics, and economics. And this interdisciplinary nature will enable the genre to explore the complex and interconnected aspects of climate change and its implication for human society. And third, increased focus on solution, which is so important. The urgency to address climate change intensify. Climate fiction may increasingly emphasize potential solutions and strategy for mitigation and adaptation. So this could lead to a rise in utopian or solar punk narrative that highlight the power of human ingenuity and cooperation in overcoming environmental challenges, which I just finished another novel on this subject, and I wish it could be published and translated into some other language shortly. So it's about oceanic environmental changes. And last but not the least, growing mainstream appealing and climate fiction will likely become more prevalent in mainstream literature, film, and television as the impact of climate change become more apparent and public concern increases. This increased visibility could further raise awareness and inspire collective action to address the issue. So in the world grappling with the existential threat of climate change, the role of artistic um, narrative, particularly science fiction or sci-fi, becomes not just an aesthetic choice, but a more imperative one. So allow me to explain why. So first, I think science fiction as a genre it enabled us to counterbalance the cognitive asymmetry. For example, we human beings, we intend to think in a linear way. Uh, we couldn't think, we are so difficult to think in a non-linear way. And also, we intend to see a short-term future, but climate, climate change is somehow a long-term, slow violence towards the environment, our planet, or all these other species, while science fiction can put it in a longer and bigger time-space scale to help us to see a whole picture. Not to mention history and future, local and universal, anthropomorphism and the human-centric, blah, blah, blah. So everything here I list out is basically help us to see out of the box, to think beyond our human, narcissism, to build up a more inclusive and more diverse mindset of how to deal with the climate change issue. And second, I would say sci-fi or cli-fi is such a powerful and beautiful tool to inspire new aesthetic of metaphorical mind. Think about how we using all this metaphor to describe life. So life is not just biology, it's also drama, it's dreams, it's movies, it's games, and increasingly the metaverse. So sci-fi or sci-fi could be a playground for the new metaphorical minds. It's where Joseph Campbell's hero's journey meets quantum mechanism, where Carl Jung's archetypes are not just psychological but also digital construction in a simulated universe. So last but not the least, to motivate individuals' participation in the future, the science fiction is not just a passive genre, it's a call to action. It motivates us to participate in shaping our future rather than being mere spectators. It's the narrative equivalent of Bodhisattva's vow, a commitment to work for the enlightenment and liberation for all sentient beings. So all these answers lies in integration, in weaving the threads of technological innovation with the tapestry of human experience, creating a harmonious blend of past, present, and the future. So let me finish this with three of my favorite quotes about the future. So the first was from William Gibson. He said, the future is already here, just not evenly distributed. So this is the reality we're living in right now, the late capitalistic, you know, consumerism, uh, inequality. So basically, this is what happened in the area of climate change and the challenges as well. But the second one is more intriguing. It's from one of my favorite authors, Ursula Le Guin. So she said the future is already full. It's much older and larger than our present, and we are the aliens in it. So it echoing from Tao Te Ching, which was the most ancient and philosophical classic from several thousands of years ago. It the idea is akin to a valley that remains empty yet bountiful. So if our imagination of the future has already grown rigid and limited, how then can we craft a new destiny? So in the future that's far grander and more ancient than our present, we are the aliens. We struggle to understand it, let alone to imagine and intervene. So our only path forward is to fear own narrative of the future or employ a quantum superposition like magic to occupy higher dimensional thinking. So we might colonize the future, but at the end, the future will colonize us. So the final quote is from my book, AI 2041. So I said, with every future we wish to create, we must first learn to imagine it, and it's not taken for granted. We must try very hard, individually, collectively, to learn to imagine a new kind of future. So thank you again for this wonderful opportunity, and may we share a journey through the cosmos of imagination and intellect continue to light the way towards a brighter, more sustainable, and compassionate future. So thank you all.
Thank you, Stanley, for giving your talk. We have 3 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? I guess there's no questions. Oh, there's one question?
Are you available on platforms like Twitter or something like this? Like where can we follow your work?
Crypto event in Abu Dhabi, and I experienced the historical, rainstorm in the desert. So this is a huge reminder to all of us. Climate change is for real, and it's happening. It's going even streamer. So I think it's time to take action like the crypto people. I think you have all this decentralized uh, cap- capacity and mobility to to create the new con consensus and take action. So I have high hope on you. So hopefully we can do something together with the storytelling and with the real world building. Thank you.
Hi, Stanley. Do you have a Twitter people could follow you on?
Yes, it's just my handle is Qiufan. So at Qiufan, so my Chinese name.
Well, thank you so much, Stanley, for presenting, and I hope you have
Thank
an
you.
amazing day.
Thank you.